Hi, welcome back to another TBR video. This is Jordan with Books with Brushu. So today we are going to be spinning our TBR wheels for our June 2025 TBR. So I am, for the next couple months, making it a priority of mine to reread the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout and to also read the Flesh and Fire series. So I've read the first 4 of the Blood and Ash books, but I have not read any of the Flesh and Fire series. And now that the release of book number 6 has been pushed to the middle of September, if I read 3 books every month between now and then, I'll be able to finish all 10 before the book 6 comes out. I recently hauled, in my last haul and haul video, the Arcane Society editions of the first 5 books in the Blood and Ash series. So I've got the first 3 sitting here, and hopefully we will be able to get them on the TBR because I will be reading them regardless. So hopefully we can double up a little bit. I also really want to make Silver Elite by Dani Francis a priority because I have heard so many good things about it. There are also a bunch of Fairy Loot books that I want to get to, like The Rose Bargain and The Courting of Bristol Keats, that I haven't been able to read. So hopefully we'll get some really good books on the spinner wheel this month. So if this is the first time you're watching one of my Spinner Wheel TBR videos, I pick from audiobooks and from physical / Kindle books. So I have 2 different spinner wheels for those. So the audiobook spinner wheel has a bunch of audiobooks that I want to listen to, genre picks, series to finish picks, library picks, stuff like that. And I spin that wheel 4 times for the month for my audiobook picks. And then for my physical / Kindle picks, that spinner wheel also has books that I want to read on it, books on my 2025 TBR list, series to finish. It also has some shelf spins where I spin a wheel with all the different bookshelves that I have, and I spin that wheel 6 times. So a total of 10 spins for the TBR video. So let's go ahead and get started with our audiobook spins for the month of June. So first spin. Spins a lot. And we've got a Kate Quinn book. Perfect. So I think it was last month that I also had a Kate Quinn book for the spinner wheel, and I did not get a chance to listen to one. So hopefully in the month of June, I will actually be able to, because I am super excited to jump into her books. I love historical fiction, so super excited about that. So let's go ahead and do our second audiobook spin. And we get Pretty Girls. So this is a Karen Slaughter book, and one of my friends said it was so good. I have read a couple Karen Slaughter books before, and I really enjoyed them. So Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter will be on the June TBR. Awesome. Okay, our third spin. A library pick. That's perfect. So that just means that I can pick any audiobook that the library has. So free pick. I can scroll through my, I have like a want to read list on Libby, so I can scroll through that and pick a book there. So we will save that pick for the end of the video, just to see how many different genres and such that I already have on the TBR. So, fourth and final audiobook spin. And it's a seasonal book. Awesome. So that just means that I get to pick a book in the current season. And June is summer, so picking a summer book. So we can scroll through the library books through Libby and see what is available. I am thinking probably an Ellen Hildebrand because I've never read one of her books before, and a lot of them are set in the summer. New England-ish, Hamptons, Cape Cod, Nantucket, something like that, up in that area. So that is a good idea for a summer pick. Okay, so we will do the library pick and the seasonal pick at the end of the video. So now let's get into our physical TBR. Wait a few seconds and spin. Okay, so our first pick is a book of the month book. This is perfect. This is perfect. Okay, I'm picking Silver Elite. Book of the month book. Done. Picked. Okay. That's awesome. That really couldn't have been any better. So, Silver Elite by Danny Francis will be on the TBR. Okay, second spin. And we get the More Than series. Okay, so this is a series by an Australian author, and why can I not think of her name? Jay McLean. Yep. And I've read, I think, only the first book in this series, and it's been since I was in like grad school-ish. So it's probably been like 10-ish, 11, 12 years since I read the first book. So the second book in the More Than series, let me go grab it because I have that one in paperback. Okay, so I went ahead and grabbed Silver Elite by Danny Francis. This is the special sprayed edge edition that Book of the Month did. And then I grabbed More Than Her by Jay McLean. So this is the second book in the More Than series. I'll have to maybe find a synopsis for the first book. I might have to reread the first book, so we'll see. We'll see what happens when I sit down with this. But this is a signed edition that I got, probably like 8 or 9 years ago at Colleen Hoover's bookstore in Texas. I don't know if that bookstore still exists, but it did when I bought that book. So that was the second spin. So let's do screen recording. Take a sip of my matcha. And do our third book spin. And we get a book from the 2000s. So any book published in the 2000s. That's awesome. So I will pick that at the end of after we are finished with all the spins. So a book in the 2000s. Fourth spin. And we get another Book of the Month book. Okay, let's go over to my Book of the Month shelf and look at the options. Okay, so silly me. I forgot I actually have a Book of the Month spinner wheel. So let's spin that wheel like I'm supposed to. However, I'm still going to keep Silver Elite on my list, even though we didn't spin the wheel for it, because it is a Book of the Month book. So let's go ahead and spin the Book of the Month spinner wheel. See which book we get. And we get The Women by Kristen Hanna. Okay, this is awesome. I love, love, love Kristen Hanna books. So I think I've only read The Nightingale, but I absolutely loved it. Was it devastating? Yes. Was it so good? Also yes. So The Women is actually just above me in the shelf right here, so I'm gonna grab it. Okay, so I grabbed The Women, and this was the February 2024 pick. So we will be reading The Women by Kristen Hanna. That makes me so happy because I have been waiting so long to read that book. Okay, so this is going to be our 5th spin. Yes, our 5th spin. Still have not gotten a Blood and Ash book on the list. Okay, 5th spin. And we get another book in the Douchebag series. So this month on my TBR, I have book number 4 in that series on my TBR, which I have not gotten to it yet. However, I still have 10 days left in the month. So that is actually the next book I'm planning on reading on my Kindle. So hopefully I will get to book number 4 this month, and then we can read, it's either book 4.5 or 5. Because I know there's a half book, but I can't remember if it's 4.5 or it's 5.5. So we will read the next book in the How to Date a Douchebag series in June. Okay, so our 6th and final spin. Still don't have a Blood and Ash book on the list. Okay, last spin. And we get a Sookie Stackhouse book. So that is the, what is that? I think the actual name of the series is Sookie Stackhouse. But the HBO series True Blood is based off of those books. So I read those books back when the series was still coming out. And for some unknown reason, I read all of the books except for the very last one. I read the entire series and didn't read the final book. So I am not sure which book I'm going to read from that series. I will have to look through and see what I remember last and maybe read not necessarily the last book, but like, I think the last book was book 13, so maybe like 10 or something. But I have some of them right here. The last one and then a couple others. I actually had all of the books in the series, but back in grad school, a lot of my books were water damaged and started to grow mold. So I had a bunch of boxes sitting in a basement while I was waiting to move. And throughout that time, the damp got in, the water got in, the bottom of the boxes were all soggy. So all of the books were covered in mold when I opened up those boxes, and I was devastated. So unfortunately, I had to throw away most of my Sookie Stackhouse books because they were all covered in mold. So these are the remaining ones that I have. So we'll see which one I want to pick up with, and then if I don't have it, I'll probably just get it from the library. Okay, so we have a couple books left to pick. So we have a library pick. We have to read a Kate Quinn book, a book from the 2000s, and what was our last? Oh, a seasonal book. Okay, so let me look at these Blood and Ash books and see when they were published. And this edition might not actually say. Oh, copyright 2020. Do these books really not come out until 2020? I'm gonna look on Goodreads just to make sure. Because 2020 is not in the 2000s. The 2000s pie slice means from the year 2000 to 09. So, because if it doesn't, we're gonna have to get a little creative and look through my 2025 TBR list. Okay, yeah, 2020, not in 2000. 2020. Okay, let me dig through some lists and I will be back with some picks for us. Okay, so I have looked through my list and I've got some picks. So for our audiobook spinner wheel, we got a Kate Quinn book. So I am going to be reading The Alice Network, well, rather listening to The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. Then we got Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Then a library pick, and I am going to be picking The Wedding People by Allison Esbach because my hold will be coming in soon for that one. So I've heard a lot of good things about that book, so excited to listen to that. And then our last pick for audiobooks was a seasonal book, and I've decided to read Summer of '69 by Ellen Hildebrand. So those are our 4 audiobook picks for the month of June. Now, we've got our physical / Kindle books for June as well. So our first spin came out as a book of the month book, and I decided to pick Silver Elite by Danny Francis. So excited to get into this book. I've heard so many good things about it. Then our second spin was the More Than series by Jay McLean. So I will either be rereading the first book or reading the second book, depending on how much my brain can remember from the first book. Then we got I think the next spin was the 2000s spin, so a book published from the year 2000 to 2009. And I've decided to go with the next book in the In Death series by J.D. Robb. So J.D. Robb is a pen name for Nora Roberts. And my grandma got me into these books, and so I've slowly been reading them over the years. This is book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the 10th book in the series, published in the year 2000, so it fits the prompt. So I will be adding Witness in Death by J.D. Robb to our TBR. Then we got I think the next spin was another book of the month spin. And then that time I actually pulled up the wheel, the book of the month wheel, like I was supposed to. And that wheel picked The Women by Kristen Hanna. So excited to get into this Vietnam War historical fiction. I've heard really, really good things about it. And then we also got the Sookie Stackhouse series. So this is the last book in the series, book number 13. However, like I said previously, I might read a previous book just to kind of get back into the world and to see, since it's been so long since I've read any of these. Now, this used to be a library copy, but I purchased it in a library sale, so it's actually not a library book anymore. Sookie Stackhouse series. And then we also got a How to Date a Douchebag series pick. So I will either be reading book number 4 if I don't get to it this month, or book number 5, 4.5, 5, I can't remember, but I should have looked that up. Also, I've got the first 3 books in the Blood and Ash series that I want to read this month so that I can be caught up when book number 6 comes out in September. Now, I will tell you, with having these 3 Blood and Ash books on the list, plus some rather chunky books, like these are both pretty big, this Silver Elite is pretty big, I can tell you that I won't be getting to all of these books. Just because having 9 physical books just isn't doable for me in a month. I read rather slowly. So even last month, where I read I think I did end up reading 6 or 7 books for Magical Readathon. That was a lot for me, and it kind of put me in a little bit of a slump because the last week I haven't really been reading all that much in the last week because I just haven't felt like it. Also, I forgot we do have to pick a year in Eldia book for the month of June. So let me pull up the map and the prompts and see where we will be going. Currently, we are on spot 5A, and we will be moving to 6A because that is the only number 6 option. So 6A, the prompt is find exit. It takes you a while to find an exit. This maze is not only ridiculous in scale, but impossible to map. You do meet some fantastic sprites that you've never seen before, but for fear of getting lost, you don't have time to stop and investigate. It's getting dark again. This prompt is pick a book over 500 pages. So I don't think that will be difficult because the Kristen Hanna book is 464. Silver Elite is 512. Yep, oh, 511. So 511. So Silver Elite will count for that. Let's do From Blood and Ash and see. And now this is the special edition version. So I don't know how long, but this version was only 460 pages. However, let me go get the non-special edition version and see how many pages that one is. Okay, so I grabbed my regular copy of From Blood and Ash, and unfortunately it is only 460 pages. So that's 2 that don't count. Let's look at these other, just in case. I mean, I'm sure I'll get to Silver Elite, but just in case. Yes, so the second, the Crown of Gilded Bones, which is the second From Blood and Ash book, is over 500 pages. So Silver Elite or Crown of Gilded Bones either one of these will count for a book over 500 pages. So got that done. We've got our stack for June 2025. And leave me a comment if you have read any of these books and you like them, you didn't like them, or you're excited to hear my thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.